Hey everybody, Casey here. So I wanted to follow up on yesterday's FaceTime, which focused on the Amazon Fresh store in Southern California that I found to be wanting. I shared with you some video, lots of pictures, tons of out of stocks, and also product that was kind of displayed carelessly. Quality looked terrible when it came to things like produce, even prepared foods. It was very disappointing. I did say I like the technology, I like the shopping carts, but I was really underwhelmed by basically the way the store was being merchandised and marketed and kept up. And I got some questions, got some emails, and rather than putting this in your views, I wanted to address it here. One email I got from Emma Morning Newsbeat reader Dwayne Eaton said, quality is one thing, but as for out of stocks, I don't know what other areas of the country are experiencing, but in central Delaware, almost all of our supermarket shelves look like that. I've recently been in Giant, Acme, Food Lion, Walmart, and all their shelves have a lot of empty spaces due to supply issues. Over the weekend, I was in a South Pennsylvania Wegmans, and surprisingly, it looked the same. I will say that that's entirely true. I think that, yes, out of stocks are an issue around the country. Although I have to be honest, I mean, Whole Foods near me and the Stu Leonard's near me, they don't seem to be having out of stock problems, or at least they're not obvious because you're not seeing big holes in the stores. Now, I will say at Whole Foods over the weekend, they had some out of stock issues, but that's largely because people were just buying a lot of product because we thought we were going to get hit by Henri, but we weren't. But that was sort of that problem. But that's a different issue. Also got an email from Morning Newsbeat reader Howard Carr, who said, and he basically addresses the appearance of out of stocks by saying, this is very disappointing because Amazon is known for its logistics, and it appears that they're unable to get the produce to the marketplace on a timely basis. Someone also needs to teach their people about facing up the shelves and bringing product down from above to fill shelves. But the one photo that impacted me was the one in the section called Ready to Eat, which was fundamentally empty. Now, if the photos were taken following lunch hour, I might understand it, but there still should be backup inventory in the store that has a sell-through rate at that level in a very short time frame. In fact, it was, I'll answer the question, it was after lunch. It was about 2 o'clock in the afternoon on a Tuesday. But that was not the problem was not that people had bought them out at lunchtime. That you cannot convince me that that was the case, that 2 hours before everything looked robust. I just don't think that's the case. One of the questions that I did raise is I made the point that this is one particular store at one particular time. I will tell you that I've talked to a lot of people who have said that this is a consistent problem at Amazon Fresh stores, although it's less so the closer you get to Seattle. By the way, that's not necessarily a good thing. There's a lot of companies that have great stores near headquarters, but the further you get away from headquarters, the more the quality drops and the culture seems to get a little dissipated. Companies cannot afford to let that happen. One Morning Newsbeat reader wrote in to say the conditions at stores that he has been to are about what I saw on a daily basis, and shoppers there are largely Amazon pickers. Assortments are incredibly middle of the road and boring, and food service, while it could be promising, is almost never stocked. The best description I've heard of these stores is that they are dark stores that happen to be open to the public. And that's a really interesting observation, because the whole idea of a dark store that happens to be open to the public makes a lot of sense and maybe tells us something about what Amazon may be planning if it decides to open department stores. And that was sort of what I suggested yesterday. And it doesn't I would guess that they don't really want to open department stores. They can create a place where people can come, but largely they're going to be fulfillment centers for people who are ordering online. And in this case, they could also be for pickup, not necessarily for delivery. But I want to be really clear about something. When I go to that Amazon Fresh store, when I think about that Amazon Fresh store, the problem, yes, the quality in things like produce was terrible. The out of stock problem was enormous. But when I look at that store, I think to myself, the real problem is that nobody gives a damn. There just didn't seem to be any desire on the people who are working in the store, and I would suggest probably the people who are managing the store, to say, hey, we can't have a store that looks this way. It looks terrible. We're sending the absolute wrong message. Either the people in the store have no expertise to fix it, or they don't give a damn about fixing it, and it may be both. And listen, here's the deal. I could probably come up with, like that, the name of 6 people who, with long experience in the supermarket industry, who could fix the problems at Amazon Fresh in about, maybe 6 months, maybe it would take a little longer, maybe it would be shorter, because they would come in, they'd analyze the problem quickly, they'd get the people motivated, they'd get rid of the people who are not motivated to fix the problem, and they would fix it, because they'd give a damn, and they'd make sure that people in the stores gave a damn. And they'd make sure that the people in the stores who give a damn would have a support system that would allow them to do their jobs in an effective and efficient way. I've joked with a couple of people that I know who could fix the problem. Hey, listen, what they ought to do, go to Amazon, get a 2-year contract, get paid in Amazon stock, and 2 tickets on one of Jeff Bezos' rocket ships. They could fix the problem and make these first-class retailers. But, and this is the big problem, when it comes to physical retail, do they want to be a first-class retailer, or do they only have second-class ambitions? Because they don't necessarily need to be an A retailer. They just need to be a B retailer that can satisfy people's needs just enough. Maybe they will be good enough for that. Although, as somebody I know used to say, something good enough is never good enough, especially these days. Anyway, that's what's on my mind this morning as I have second thoughts about first impressions. And as always, I want to hear what's on your mind.